Is it work? Yes. Good morning. Dear colleagues, students, participants, please have a comfortable seat. We are about to start. Please. Shh. Thank you very much. We will now start the RI4C2 session. And actually behind this acronym we have the name of the sister project of the Erasmus project that is funding at the moment most of the activities of the EC2U Alliance. But we have since 2021 another parallel project that is funded by the European Research and Innovation Program, Horizon 2020. And the name of this project is Research and Innovation for Cities and Citizens. Therefore, this RI4C2 acronym, which is always very difficult to say, especially if you want to say it fast. So you will have to get trained. Maybe we could do a break at some point and help you mentioning RI4C2. But at the moment, let's start the RI4C2 session, where we will, together with colleagues, present you some of the current developments in that project regarding how to make sure that the EC2U Alliance is also developing activities in research and innovation. Well, as you know, of course, there are already ongoing activities under the virtual institutes. We have seen yesterday the sessions on the virtual institute. You could see that there are research projects ongoing with also doctoral trainings, summer schools. You all know that. We had a summer school this week as well in parallel. So in principle, research and innovation is already under progress, even under the Erasmus program. But what we need, and this is what I will present now, is to go further in the development of joint activities in research and innovation. So as I said, this RI4C2 project has been funded by the Horizon 2020 program. It started in September 21, and it will have a duration of 3 years. Well, I tried to slightly change the presentation that we are usually doing, because normally you would have seen the European map with the 7 cities, the 7 universities. Well, I guess now you all know that, but maybe what you are less familiar with is actually what it is in the research and innovation field in the 7 universities. What you see here are representations of the research capacities of the 7 universities. It is actually called a wheel of science. For each university, you see the small dots. The colors are related to the fields, the disciplines, and the size of the dots related to the research publication numbers. And as you can nicely see from these plots, is that the 7 universities, and as we said earlier in the week, the new ones, for instance, the Linz University, they have a very complementarity profile. You see all disciplines are always represented, and there are some strengths for some, other strengths for others, and this actually shows that altogether we have a real capacity to make more than what each university is capable doing. And what I wanted to show you as well, well, it may look a bit technical, but what you can see here is actually a plot where we look into the research articles impact in Europe and EC2U. And actually this big pink blob that you see here is actually the situation of all the research articles of the European Union, so all the universities, all the research institutions, etc. So all the research results in terms of articles in Europe, so now in the 27 member states. And the 2 coordinates are the following. You have here the international collaboration in %, meaning that this is actually the international component of the co-authors. Basically, if a paper is published by a team composed of people from different countries, this would participate to this percentage. Okay, so basically this means that the average for the whole Europe research production is, as you can see, around 42% of international research articles, meaning the internationalization of research in Europe. And the second coordinate is the impact in terms of citations of these articles, and it is actually what is called the top 10% citation percentiles, meaning if you are in that number, it means that your paper belongs to the most cited 10%. Okay, so meaning that in Europe, the average is that of all the papers published, 14% belong to the 10% most cited. Okay? And as you can see, when we take the same numbers for EC2U universities altogether, they are more international and they have more impact. And this is actually the numbers for the period 16-21, meaning that already before the full power of the EC2 Alliance, the 7 universities are already above average in terms of internationalization of research and impact of research articles. And of course, our goal is that we continue to grow in the upper part of this graph. And for this, we need to support the researchers, we need to support the research offices and all the actors of the research and innovation field. So for this, as you know, we have started to focus first on 3 SDGs, this you know as well, good health and well-being, quality education and sustainable cities and communities, and in the future we'll continue to add more and more of these SDGs. And actually, therefore, what we want to do in the RI4C2 project is to develop what we call a pan-European knowledge ecosystem. And that, in that sense, it very much links to the previous session. We have seen that we can have impact, in particular, if we connect our universities with the local actors, the policymakers, the associations, the SMEs, and this is what actually is composing the local knowledge ecosystems. But now what we want to do is to connect them at the level of the alliance. We have seen actually, in particular through the Slido questions, that EC2U could be one way to move forward in this production of new knowledge, social innovation, among other important topics. So this is what we want to do. Therefore, this means that we will connect all together all these components of the local ecosystems so that in the end, we can really all together at the level of this European, pan-European campus to create all together new knowledge that is making sense and impact to the society. So for this, we have created a project, European project, that has some work packages, and each of these work packages are led by a different university in cooperation with the others and focusing on specific topics. The first one is related to, let's say, the management mostly. There are a few interesting topics to come on, for instance, how to share the research and innovation infrastructures. But the second one will promote what we call a first joint research and innovation agenda, meaning the 7 universities will agree on topics that they want to put forward together. Then we have the work package on the people empowerment, and in this one we want in particular, among many other things, to create some master classes on how to promote gender equality in research and innovation. This will be online modules, so everyone can really follow and see how to improve also the gender equality in research and innovation. We will have also some joint research and innovation platforms, databases to help our researchers to connect with each other, among other things. We have the innovation sphere that is in particular led by Jena, where we connect with the local innovators. We'll discuss about this today in one of the panel. We have what we call the EC2U knowledge ecosystems, where we do this connection between the local and the pan-European level. And we have the Open EC2U, which is promoting a joint approach to open science. And in the last one, it is mostly, let's say, dissemination, meaning that the session of today is a part of the activities of this work package. So, with this structure, we have started to create results, tools, joint approaches, and today we want to start delivering to you some of the first elements of this project. So, for this, we have designed the session with two parts. A first panel and a second panel, and the first panel is, let's say, at the institutional level. And we have entitled it Connecting Vision and Institutions. We will have 3 speakers that will provide some elements of reflection and strategies at the level of their university. This will be followed by some question and answers from you. I will come to this in a minute. And we will have then a second roundtable that is this time talking more about how now to precisely connect people and actions. So institutional level and basically people level. And of course there will be some question and answers. I will come back to this. And we will finish quickly with some poster pitches, because posters for each of the work packages have been installed. So if you want to know more about each of these work packages here, what are they doing, what are they going to deliver within the 3 years, you are very welcome to go there and to sort of tease you to go there. Some people will come to pitch their poster, and that will be the end of this session. For the question and answer, we propose you to use Slido, meaning that regularly along the different slides, you will see this slido.com number. So you can connect anytime. So you can, for instance, maybe now just take a picture to have the code. And this is where you can place your questions to the speakers. And when we will have gone through all the speakers, we will show the questions, and then the speakers can respond to it. Of course, we will use the traditional live way to interact with you. But if you have a question that comes to your mind, connect, place it, and it is saved, and we keep it for the Q&A session. Okay? So do not hesitate, and anyway, it will come back several times. So with this, I would like now to start the first panel that I will moderate, and then Dana Strauss will moderate the second one. I will each time invite the speakers to come to the stand, and the first speaker will be Ricardo Costa, who is a strategy and impact expert at the University of Salamanca within the Vice Rectorate for Research and Knowledge Transfer. And Ricardo, you will speak about Salamanca Network of Innovation. So that tool is yours, and you have about 7 minutes.
Under stress. So thank you, Jena, for organizing such a wonderful conference and on time. Yeah, okay. So basically, yes, what I wanted to tell you is a bit of what's happening in Salamanca in terms of innovation, collaboration, and network. So I'll give you a bit of background, which is a policy background, which is the new European Innovation Agenda that is focused on 5 pillars, and it's basically onto that we have to align in terms of all universities and all research and impact-driven activities. Right, so in order to go through what we are actually doing in Salamanca, I brought you basically 3 to 4 examples. NEHEI, which is the European Network of Innovative Universities, which is the secretariat, is led by Salamanca. And a story that it's basically 3 that drive what has been proposed as the first application for the Innovation Valley of the region, and a project on digital innovation and interaction with companies and small SMEs. Also one focused on the city itself and our scientific park. So NEHEI is the secretariat is led by a professor at the University of Salamanca, Fernando Almaraz. And so basically it's a network which has this configuration, and the result was the let's say, a booklet with best practices sent to the European Commission. I now don't recall exactly, I think in December last year. So basically this is a network of universities appointed by the central government with a few additions. Right, and these were the recommendations, right? The 10 recommendations listed on that document, right? I'll focus on the 3 first ones, right? They're basically saying that universities should have means to support their startups. We are talking about living labs, and they want to support living labs and basically reinforce the role of university in regional deep tech innovation valleys. So another concept here is the concept that defined by the European Commission on deep tech, which we want to be the engine to Europe needs to focus on deep tech. Obviously, you can read the whole list, but on sake of time, or read the report, which is 100 and something pages, which is with a few examples. So I want to tell you a bit, because probably you don't have an idea on what is the challenge in terms of territory that we have in Salamanca. Salamanca is, together with Valladolid, but probably the strongest university on the region. We don't like to say that, but it's it's a region which is one of the less densely populated region in Europe, right? And it's peripheral in terms of the region and the country itself. So focusing on that, we have SEAL Hub, which is a million and something sponsored project to end in, if I recall correctly, 2024, which basically goes to every capital city and promotes discussion on entrepreneurship. And that is the basis of that the regional government lifted to build the Regional Innovation Valley. And the people that's behind this SEAL Hub are the people that organize Startup Olé, which is a meeting in September every year in Salamanca. Here is the commissioner that visited the last 2 times. It already has 4,000 attendee, people from 120 come. It's basically the strongest entrepreneurship meeting outside of big capital cities. And basically this is the path of the calendar for the SEAL Hub, of meeting basically they have around the provincial capital cities and some spin-outs on South America. So you have to understand that Salamanca has a really strong connection with South America and the history of Spanish, and then so's that. And that's the Startup Olé. And Startup Olé together, SEAL Hub, really with the political support behind the regional government, has recently submitted, under the call for expression of interest for regional innovation valleys, which is open until September, has submitted a document and what they call the first Castilla y León Innovation Valley. So there is a nice document with all the projects and a nice picture and an application on an expression of interest to respond to this new European Innovation Agenda. So that's one. Then the other example is a recent interaction. This was May with the launch of Salamanca Tech, which I'll 2 minutes. So, and basically I'll focus on this. Behind this idea is the development of a logistics port, which is called Porto Seco, which is a new development in terms of logistics and artificial intelligence in Salamanca as a central point of connection on 2 paths, Via de la Plata and one that connects Portugal with France. Right, so those are and this project is one focused on sponsoring with digital capabilities across the region, and it's also led from the Professor Corchado in Salamanca, and has these services to companies, enterprises, scientific park, and individual even the university in terms of data support and computing power. So that's one. And then it's the list of companies that are at our scientific park and that we're trying to promote. But, and then I can tell you a bit about, one or two, but you can ask me what's happening there and I'll be able to at least tell you a brief note of what they are. So I'm this in time? Okay, so that's, and I'm happy to answer any question.
Thank you very much, Ricardo. Perfectly on time, 6:57. Again, you can find here the Slido code, so that if you want to post your questions to Ricardo, we'll come back to them during the Q&A session. Now it's my real pleasure to welcome the second speaker, Dana Strauss, who was moderating the previous session. You know her. You are within the project, Dana, you are the leader of the Work Package 5, the Innovation Sphere of the RI4C2 project, and you are here the Managing Director of Jena Versum at the university, and you will actually present the policy of Jena Versum. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, and hello again. I'd like to travel with me back from Salamanca to Jena, and I'd like to invite you to our Jena Versum. Don't worry, the topic is about Jena Versum's policy, but I brought pictures, so that's not as dry as it sounds. Okay, so what did we found? What is Jena Versum, and what did we found it for? So as all of our partner cities in the EC2U alliance, Jena is also facing certain challenges. We heard about, attracting talents to the regions, but also to increase international visibility, also to strengthen the credibility of science in society and expand the transfer activities, promoting interdisciplinarity and the culture of cooperation, just to name a few. I think we all have the same, all facing the same challenges, and the people in Jena and the university, also in the University of Applied Sciences and the non-university institutes, they have a really strong tradition of collaborating with each other, but this has never been its own institution. So that was the decision in 2018 to form an own entity called Jena Versum that will bring together all the actors that are here in the region, in the city, and make its own, as I said, entity. So Jena Versum is a network of science, business, and the city in the region of Jena, and this is also a non-profit association. So it has a little bit of a, not a little bit, it has a double structure. On the one hand, it's part of the president's office, it's its own department, and on the other hand, it's a non-profit association with its own legal status. So how is it structured? So we have, of course, we have the General Assembly, we have 27 different partners, and all of them are the important, not mass, but these are the important people who really make the decisions and really discuss what the next actions of Jena Versum should be. And out of the 27 members, we have 16 research institutions, which is a lot, and also the city of Jena and the municipal companies, Jena Business Development and also Jena Kultur are part of Jena Versum. And we also have 8 research-oriented companies, like Zeiss, for example. They are also part of the network and really try to understand each other. You can imagine that there are many different languages spoken in a network like Jena Versum. And I don't mean the regional dialect, I really mean the languages of science, the language of entrepreneurship, and also public administration. So that's really, my job is also to be part of a translator between the different spheres of stakeholders. So as you can see, we have also from that General Assembly, we also formed Board of Directors. As you can see, Jena still has some work to do when it comes to gender equality. Anyway, these are the leading people in the institutions. So who is in the Board of Directors? It's the mayor. You got to know him during the city reception on Monday, the Lord Mayor. We also have the president of the university, we have the rector of the University of Applied Sciences, we have the dean from the university hospital, and we have some really, really successful institutes in the natural sciences and life sciences. So we have one of the directors of the Institute for Photonic Technologies as a member, and also in the social and cultural sciences, which is really a strong way here in Jena, the director of the Foundation Ettersberg. And last but not least, we have the director of product development from one of the companies from Schott. So we have the General Assembly, then we have the group of those 7 men and me, and we're deciding things and discussing things. But then we also have the working groups, and this is where all the life comes in the whole network. For the different topics of Jena Versum, you can see here that we have a group for international location marketing. We managed to really have a really good communication, and we established a working group around that topic to really share our expertise. We talk about research infrastructures. We are funded to set up a platform, the Open Iris platform, to share resources and to really establish a culture of sharing, so that not all of the research institutions just buy their own microscope, for example, and then everybody has its own, but to really share things. That's a sustainable way to do things, but of course it's not easy. We have an open dialogue on research initiatives, so that really partner also from the businesses get in contact with the researchers early on, because they complained. I talked to 150 people when I started the job in 2019, and the companies complain that they always, that the university will always come to them last, 5 minutes before they have to hand in an application or a proposal, so they really want to be involved more. Also, we talk about how to develop further our city and our region, and the topic of transfer and outreach is also a really strong one. As you could see, I really like to reach out, for example, to Coimbra. So that was really nice. So this is all the different partners from the 27 members of Jena Versum will send representatives to the working groups, and we discuss things together. Of course, we also have a charter. We are, as I said, a registered association since 2021. And it's really important that we have not only the actors from the academia, from the scientific world, but also the partners from the city and the economy. But the purpose is and will be the promotion of science and research, so that's really clear. And as you said, as you could see in the previous slide, these are our fields of action. These are the 5, and of course we also have cross topics like IT infrastructure, that the regional IT infrastructure that we are talking about at the moment, that also connects the research agenda initiatives with the strategic location development, and also use of research infrastructures. If we talk about high performance computing, for example, we have really good facilities to do that, and they could also offer services to the members of Jena Versum. Yeah, and this is, as I said, the measures that are written in the association's charter: cooperation and exchange, visibility and transfer, and also research infrastructure, because this is really not an easy topic, and I really wanted to place that in the charter so that nobody can say, well, we didn't know about that, so I put it in there. Okay, and that's about Jena Versum. If you have any questions, just type me.
Thank you very much, Dana. Once again, if you want to pose questions, use the Slido codes. I will now call the third speaker, who is Ionel Mangadaju. Ionel, please come here to the stage. You are the Vice Rector for Research at the University of Iași, Alexandru Ioan Cuza, and you will present the policy of your university in the field of innovation, in connection in particular with the local ecosystem. So Ionel, you have 7 minutes.
So, thank you very much, Ludovic. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. Today I choose to present you some aspects related to our cooperation, research and innovation with some local actors from Iași region. It was quite difficult to choose some examples, but finally I decided to present you two cases. One of it's our collaboration with a big company. I'm talking about Amazon, which everybody knows is a giant in computer science and related. And the second example will be about our cooperation with a small medium enterprise which is working in the field of chemical and pharma field. So, where are we first? Iași is here, located somewhere, is the most eastern city from the European Union. Actually, we are exactly on the border, 10 kilometers until the border. And you could ask why a giant as Amazon was coming to Iași. Of course, the answer is quite obvious because of the human resources quality, as I will present you right in the next slide. We are in the university 15 faculties, and one of it is, I will try to keep a speed high, and one of it is the Faculty of Computer Science. And actually, we have a strong research department in computer science, and most of them are located to the Faculty of Computer Science, but there are some others to the Faculty of Mathematics and also to the economics schools. And if you wish to learn more things about this, about our cooperation with Amazon, you could follow this link. And what I wish to tell you about some positive things in our cooperation with Amazon and some challenges that we are facing in the cooperation with them. The good things are that Amazon is strong and is strongly interested in cooperation with us. So basically, they are pick up our students from the very beginning, even from the first year in the second semester, and they hire them. During all the faculty, actually, I think more than 50% of our students from Faculty of Informatics, Mathematics, or Computer Science, the special department they have it there, are hired by Amazon. This, we could say that is a very good thing. Yeah, we'll put it to positive. Of course, they are helping us in different sort of things. For instance, they are creating new labs in our faculties there, and put it there all the infrastructure that are needed. And I will show you some aspects here. You see, for instance, there are labs that are created by them. And they put it not only the hard part, but also the software that are necessary. And we are a common theme of research, and we are trying to solve it. Of course, actually, the cooperation with Amazon started years ago, and it's on a high level. So these are, let's say, the people from Amazon are involved in research and innovation, but also in teaching courses, for instance, to the master level or to doctoral level. So their help is invaluable for developing of the field of computer science. But also there are some drawbacks and some challenges that we have to solve it. The first one is that one that I told you that is an advantage. They hire the best people, the first 50% from our university. But we need also the researcher for our own use. And because of this, it is very difficult to handle. But I don't know, somehow we are trying to reach an equilibrium in this respect. And sometimes we realize and we was trying to make some kind of deals with the guys from Amazon to send back some of our best students in order to hire them as professors or as full researchers. But it is very difficult. And why is this very difficult? Because of the second problem that we encounter. Actually, we are solving different problem of research with them. But most of them, they want to keep it secret. And that's the main aspect that we encounter with them. And this is an issue that we have to solve it somehow. They are actually very restrictive in this respect, and they say, okay, that's the way. If you don't wish, if you don't want to do it in this way, there is no solution for this. We are trying to handle it somehow, and I hope that finally we'll find some solution, at least to the PhD students, because, yeah, I have, okay. So we'll see how we'll do it. The second case is our cooperation with the SME. It's a company that was founded in 1994, and it's working in chemical and pharmaceutical field. They are producing a lot of stuff for intermediaries, for chemical companies, and for the big pharma from all around the world. It is located here, and there are also some very positive aspects with them. They are hiring a lot of people. Actually, 75% of the people hired here to this chemical company are absolvent of our university. So it's not so bad. We have also strong cooperation to the license and to the master. A lot of people are doing practical courses there to the chemical company. The point is that also we have some challenges with them. The main challenges with them is that they wish to solve some research problems, some research aspects that also they wish to keep it secret. And we are not very happy of this. And also, in the case of services that we are doing for them, there is a very tough negotiation concerning the prices. Always, they are trying to decrease the prices, and we are not very happy with this either. So, as you could see, there are positive and negative aspects related with the cooperation, and I hope that I was clear enough, and I was in time also. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That, I think, is indeed very interesting to have precise cases of collaboration where we do see the challenges and successes that our universities can encounter when they develop such type of strategic cooperation. So it's now time for the question and answer part. So I would kindly ask the three speakers to come here again to the stage so that you can interact with the audience. If everything goes well, on the next slides, we will see the questions, right? It should work somehow. If not, Nina, please come and help. Because we know that some questions were posted. So maybe there is just a need to refresh, or I don't know. We'll find a way. Yes. Okay, so the panelists, you can see. You can see some of the first questions. I will read them, the three, and you can pick. Do you see? Those are the last ones. Yeah, but here it's not active. So should we actually directly put the internet page,
Yeah.
I guess? No? No, because that's just the presentation.
Yes. Okay. It works. So the first two questions are for me, and I could answer that we don't have, let's say, controversial problems with Amazon. There are only some challenges that we have to solve it. And the second question, okay, oops.
Yeah, sorry, we have now moved to the full set and we'll come back to...
Okay, great.
Yeah. So you were
Working
talking,
some-
you were starting to
some-
discuss, I guess, on the how you deal with open science with
Okay.
Amazon, for instance.
Amazon, I told you that it is open, related to open science, but not in the case of research problems, only to general things. They don't wish to be open related to research. They say that it is a policy company, and because of this, we have to accommodate with them.
Thank you. We have another question, which could be to you, Dana. Which are the most complex challenges in mediating the relationship between different actors of Jena Versum, I guess it was, right? Changes as
That would then be a question to me, yeah? Yeah, the most complex challenges. As I said, language really differs. It's really interesting when you have entrepreneurs and researchers in the same room. First of all, the entrepreneurs are really always surprised how much money is in research funding. They were really impressed, by the numbers of a most recent project. And then, of course, they talk about customers, and this is where they're starting to lose the scientists because there are no customers. So it's really a really different way of thinking. And I think what is really important is to show that Jena Versum is really neutral. Yeah, we're Switzerland, and to establish trust, and that we really want to work with each other. So this is no hidden agenda or anything. It's just really being open and being valuing all the different angles and trying to get some kind of understanding. So, yeah.
Maybe actually there are now two questions that could be addressed by Ricardo. They are a bit disruptive, which is fine. How is Salamanca fighting with Madrid or Barcelona to attract talent, and maybe together with it, startup ecosystem in Spain is boosting on the coast? Why go to Salamanca?
So first question, I'm not the right person to answer that. But anyway, we're not moving Salamanca to the coast or moving Salamanca to Barcelona or Madrid. So Salamanca has its own attributes in terms of quality of life. And obviously, we cannot build the same startup ecosystem in Salamanca as it's being built in Barcelona and has been in Madrid or in the Basque Country. So they have different research ecosystems and different skill sets and different so on. So one of the things that we're trying to focus in Salamanca, and which is obvious, and it's focusing on this social, demographic challenge, rural and environmental setting. This is where we can be more competitive and obviously not competing with Barcelona or Madrid. We have the same problem as in Jena, that a lot of people come to this wonderful university and then off they go to big jobs in Madrid and Salamanca. And basically, trying to build an ecosystem an innovation ecosystem is something to try to attract them to the city and keep them in the city. There's a big gap between the age that you end your degree and the age that people come back to Salamanca. So between 30 and 40, there's a big gap of population in the city. So, yeah, so those are the two ones. There was more. I was trying to get them, but yeah, I see them.
Yeah, we'll try to have some term as well, but there is this one on the ethics approach,
Yeah.
which I think is indeed something important that we may all face, but please, in your case, for instance, Jonel, how you deal with ethics with these partners?
Yeah, I think this is an important issue, the ethic of research. And of course, when we are doing the deals with different companies, and in this case with Amazon, we are very careful to these aspects because these are legal aspects. So the people from the law department are trying to handle of this problem in cooperation with their partner from Amazon, put it all in order to rise up problems later. So this is actually the methodology how we are working to solve these ethical problems in research. Of course, finally, we agree to some points, let's say some outcome of research, we agree to come on the market and to be open, contributing to open science and to enrich the knowledge in research. But some aspects, I told you, remain secret, and that one, we have a period of time. It depends, usually up to 5 years, in which we have to keep the secret, and after that, they allowed us to come with the results on the market. This is how we proceed.
Thank you. Maybe Dana, this question to you. Are all topics equally important in Universum?
Theoretically, there are, but it's impossible to deal with all of them at once. So we have, ongoing activities in all of them. But of course, right now, the most important topic might be the research infrastructure with the project that is going on to really establish that culture of sharing resources and really also saving money and finding sustainable solutions for the usage and also to foster collaboration. And the location development is one of the topics. This is really a huge, huge topic. This is something that's really also important, but really hard to tackle. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Ricardo, the one on how your university is providing support to startups. Is this something you could elaborate?
Right.
Or any other question, if you
and
prefer.
there's another question there, and how does the scientific park interact with the university? So the scientific park is part of the foundation that is owned by the University of Salamanca and is indirectly managed by the Vice Rector of Research and Transfer. So they are intimately linked anyway. What is actually the scientific park doing at the moment to attract? So they have a team of four to five people, if I recall correctly, and they basically give them spaces to develop their idea. They make hackathons. They support them in terms of administrative and applications, contacts, business development, and so that's how the small people that they have for the buildings that they have arranged to have 67 companies there working, and about 700 to 800 people employed at those spaces. And there was another, what are the main activities going on in the Innovation Valley?
Actually, for that one, if you agree, I will use this as a final word from each of you. But maybe there was this one on how the Science Park functions, not just the startups, but maybe...
So how does it function? So basically, it has a management structure in cooperation with the Vice Rector of Economics and the Vice Rector of Research. And they're pretty much independent in the way that they rent and manage their spaces. And basically, they have a business development work to attract companies and keep them there. I don't know if we...
Okay, I think that's a good model that we also see in all other science parks.
It's not unequal to many scientific, but it's not very innovative in the description that.
So time is flying indeed. That's why I wanted to maybe use this last question on the innovation valleys. What, in your opinion, could be 3 keywords that would, in the case of your location, be the main ingredients for this place to become at some point an innovation valley? What would be the main ingredients, main strengths? Maybe starting with you.
Yeah, so I wanted to clear that concept innovation valley of what it is right now. So it's on a policy document. There's an expression of interest which is open until September. So when you ask what are the main activities going on, at the moment it's a grant application process and defined by, so what are in Salamanca the attributes that can make the region an attractive proposition to build an innovation valley. They are focused in the document depending on the cities, and this is the path that SIL-Hub is doing in visiting and mapping all the actors around. And basically it's agro, one agro environment, one path. The other one is automotion, especially on the region of Valladolid. That's one policy line. And the other one is IT, artificial intelligence, that goes off from Ag 4.0, and the other one is demography. So those were the lines that were described, which are not very far from the lines of the RIS3 policy, the research.
So that was your 3-word response. Thank you. 3 words, each of you.
Computer science, environment, and big pharma.
Thank you. Dana?
I'm focusing on the attributes, CIA, courageous, interlinked, and adventurous, going on in optics, photonics, life sciences, and the digital industry.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you all for this first panel. And we'll move now to the second panel and I hand over the moderation to Dana. We need to interact here on how to go back to the slides, so you can use them.
That's not the right one, correct? It is. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, there's no. That should be the right one. So I'm sorry, it's me again. So I'm really happy to present you tomorrow at the second part of our RFOC2 session, connecting the dots, sustainable research collaborations across discipline universities and cities. And we're really trying to connect the dots. Actually, we wanted to, connect something in the room, so we just have to do it virtually. And I'm really happy that we have that great divide between the visions and the institutions, and also the second level, connecting people and actions. And we will have 2 speakers with us today, and I'm really happy to present Daniela Ovadia as our first speaker. Daniela is Professor of Ethics of Research and Responsible Research and Innovation for doctoral students, Neuroethics and Communication Neuroscience at the University of Pavia. I'm not finished, Stata. She's the co-director of the Neuroscience and Society Lab at the University of Pavia, and also the scientific director of the Center for Ethics in Science and Journalism, an institution that in April this year received an ERC grant. So now I'm finished. Yeah, welcome, Daniela.
Okay. I thank you very much for inviting me to speak about something I'm really passionate of. So this is a cartoon I often present in my presentation. It's actually a gross representation of a knowledge ecosystem. I took it from the document from the European Commission. As you see, the research and innovation system has many actors. The research community we are part of, but of course the civil society organization, the business and industry, the education community we are also part of, and the policymakers. And what I like in this cartoon is that there are, in the different circles, in the external part, the good behaviors, the things, the skills that we have to develop. Anticipation and reflection toward what would be the outcome of what we are doing as researchers, as educators. The responsiveness and being able to adapt to change. This is good for us, it's good for the civil society because they have to react to the innovation in science, and also for, of course, the business and industry and policymakers. The openness and transparency, we know the value of open science, and the diversity and inclusion in the way we behave. And then we have a lot of topics: ethics, gender equality, governance, open access, public engagement, and science education that has to be developed to have a full and vibrant knowledge ecosystem. My specialty is public engagement, so there are many, many models of public engagement, but I wanted to focus on the 4 types of public engagement because it's really useful for universities. It's the model telling, discussing, asking, and deciding. So you can engage with the lay public, and we are all part of the lay public when we are talking about something we are not experts on. So even people from the academy, if they have an expertise, but they have to discuss on something else, they are part of the citizenship, lay public. So telling means explaining, engaging the public, and informing the public about science. Discussing public engagement are public engagement activities that it's a two-way exchange with the public, so having feedback on science. Asking initiatives are the organization of projects where you ask the public, what do you want from my research project? So I ask you, what are the best outcomes? And then deciding how we can engage the public in taking decisions around science. This is what we call now the scientific citizenship. Citizens have to decide about science because science is at the background of a lot of decisions that we take every day. So there is a glossary for public engagement. We call everything is public engagement, we call everything public engagement, but actually we have specific definition for each type of public engagement. Science communication refers in general to a setting of information activities to audiences that are not experts, what we call outreach. According to some definition, even the inreach, when we publish our results, are some kind of science communication. Then we have science journalism, which is not science communication. It's the good democratic value of journalism, which means a sort of watchdog of democracy, someone who looks at science from outside, even with a critical eye. Citizen science is involving citizens in the building and doing research, actual research. So having citizens being part of our research project. And finally, the goal of all these things is to build the capacity of the citizens to take informed decisions about science. So I want to focus on citizen science because this is what we are also discussing in RI4C2, which is how we can build a research project together with the citizens. This is the real citizen science, planning the research with them, making observation with them, analyzing and interpreting data with the lay public, asking questions, and finally constructing and communicating explanations. All these steps has to be done together with the lay public in order to produce citizen science. There are many tools to do this. There are focus group, you can also use gamification. There are interesting games to ask the public to analyze your data, help you analyzing your data. So even the data analysis, which is, if you want, the more specialized topic, can be done with the citizens. What's the role of universities? I think that it's interesting for you to know that what I call the Italian model, which is common also elsewhere. In 2010, our government decided to change the regulation on the evaluation of research institutions, universities, and research institutions. The agency that does this kind of evaluation, quality assessment, is called ANVUR, and for the first time, ANVUR added the third mission and the social impact of each university and even of each researcher in the evaluation of the quality. So the ranking of the universities in Italy now depends not only on the quality of education, not only on the quality of research, but on the quality of engagement with the public. So the third mission definition is a large and broad definition. As you see, it is divided into two sections. There is the valorization of research, which is, of course, innovation transferred and third-party research, academic spin-off and companies. But then there is the production of public goods, cultural heritage, contribution to public health, lifelong learning, and of course, public engagement. What's the problem with the universities and research institutions? That they focus on the first part of the third mission, and they always forget that in order to bring the citizens on board, and the citizens are the one who pay their taxes and support our research, we need them to be on board. So I just want to close with this experience that I will start on June 1st, the ERC Frontiers Project, because ERC is the institution that right until now supported only basic research. It's the first time that ERC is supporting an action and research project for science journalism, because they realized that we really need to have mediators that are able to deal with the complexity of science and bring science to the public. And the project is actually a fellowship project for journalists in residence in all the universities in Europe and research institutions, hopefully also in the EC2U network universities, but it's coupled with the research on ethical guidelines and measures of impacts and the collection of best practice. I think it's important to know that for the first time such an institution supported something that is really a pure outreach project. I had a last slide, but my last comment is, and it was probably cancelled, it was a thank you, but there were two pictures very important. Why should we involve the citizens? I always have this question when I talk with scientists, and I put a picture of the suffragettes, universal suffrage, when we decided that we wanted everybody to be on board to vote. At the beginning we said only wealthy and educated people had the right to vote. And then we said also the women, maybe, because at the beginning they were only men. And then we said also the people who is not educated. And sometimes we are unhappy with their decisions, okay, in the elections, but we accept it for a higher value, which is democracy. The scientific citizenship is exactly the same. Science is at the background of all our decisions, and if we want the citizen to be able to take decision, even wrong decision, unfortunately, for a higher level, higher value, which is the democracy in science, we need to offer them as academic institution an environment to learn, to train themselves in this decision making. Thank you.
So if you have questions for Daniela, it's a really, really important topic. Thank you for your contribution. I think the concept of scientific citizenship and the engagement of the public into science is really a big topic that we should also, as an alliance, address and to really be aware and really plan the ways of doing that. So as a next speaker, it's my pleasure to present you one of my colleagues. Matthias Piantek is a startup consultant at the University of Jena, and he's also the coordinator of the whole Thuringian University Startup Network. Matthias, the floor is yours.
It's great to be here, and first question, who's already starving and waiting for the break? So I will hurry a bit. So thank you, Dana, for introduction. I'm a startup coach. I'm one of those working with students, alumni, researchers, and help them to bring their idea to fly. And we saw already in Ricardo's presentation that there are many initiatives to support startups. And in combination, what we have in Jena as well, we have so many great universities. We have 2 of them. We have research institutions. We have companies. And all over those places we have persons with great ideas. Single persons, teams, researchers, and so on. And what we found is that there are so many offers, so many supporting programs, that it's sometimes a bit confusing for those starting in that process, thinking about an idea, getting, in Germany we would say, pregnant with the idea that it grows to become a child and then later on become an adult. And when I started my job, I thought it's enough sitting in my office and wait to come, or waiting for those to come and ask for support. And that changed over the years. Now the most important thing is to network, to get to know all the other supporting institutions, persons, and so on, to know how we could help best. I'm a generalist, but there are many specialists out there, and it's my task to know who's a specialist to support. It could be someone helping prototyping, could be someone helping with spaces, like we had with the Innovation Park in Salamanca. It could be money, VC money, private money, banks, and so on. It could be finding team members. And what we experienced is that already in Jena we have more than 30 actors which are active in the field of supporting startups. That are the universities, research institutions, that are also co-working spaces, technology parks, business angel networks, and so on. Many, many, many who want to help. But what we had not such a long time ago, they were not coordinated. They were not talking with each other. We know that they are there, and sometimes we met on nice locations and talked a bit, but we never said, okay, what could we do to really support our startups that they stay here? With all the questions we had earlier on with the colleagues in Yash, to keep persons in the city, in the region, and when we have synergy effects, talking with each other, that is better, because we're not confusing startups, because when they searched, Google search, Jena foundation of a company support, at least 15 different actors occurred on their Google site. And that's okay, as long as those 15 actors talk with each other. And now we have the opportunity, and what we did, we started talking with each other, that if you connect to one in this network, you know that you were given to the one which fits best to the need you have. And that was not before 2021 or 22. So 30 actors knowing each other, but we did not, kind of nothing together, and that was confusing. And there was a small initiative coming out of 5 actors saying, okay, we should change something, and what happened? We had COVID. And we all had our own problems, sit together or sit back home, digital. So what you need is trust. You have to meet each other, at least at the beginning of such a foundation of a network. Then COVID was kind of over. We had the possibility to meet us again. So we opened the door. We said, please come. We want to talk to you. We want to know what's your supporting program. What are you really doing? We saw your homepages, but what capacities do you have? What can you offer? And maybe what can you not offer? Both is fine to know. So we had hours of hours just checking who is there, what's behind. Is it a public institution? Is it a private actor? Do we have shareholders and so on? And so we learned about each other. And what was most important for us, what are the KPIs of each actor? Because if you do not know that, you could not help them fulfilling their KPIs. And that's what we did. Some of those had KPIs like the number of foundations, the number of trained persons, the number of venture capital raised, and so on. And if we know that, then we could see, okay, now here we could start really exchanging teams, talking with each other, sending them to the other persons, to the other institutions, and that started. And now we are in 23, we have a joint WhatsApp group where easily information can be exchanged. We start to plan network events. We promote them together, that also students, researchers, and so on see those institutions belong together, actors work together, and we are not working against each other. want the same. We want to do the best for our startups, for our entrepreneurial students and ideas. So it's still an ongoing process, but what I can give you back home, please talk. And that's why you're here. You started talking, networking, and be honest and be open. The more open you are, the better the others can help you. And that's what I want to give you as a result of what we did here in Jena. And we are not at the end. It's still an ongoing process. Thank you.
Thank you, Matthias. I would now like our two speakers to take a seat at the panel discussion side. If you have any more questions, type quickly because we are running out of time. Matthias and Daniela, I would like to present you the questions that have arrived. And I'd like you to choose your most favorite question, one, because time, and then you can answer that. No. We don't. It's 2 minutes. All right, I will scroll down slowly, read quickly, and choose one question, okay? That's a challenge.
Okay, I would focus on, if I can, on success and failure in scientific citizenship, citizen science activities, and why, because I think it also involves other topics like major challenges and possible solution in 5-10 years' time. So one of the major successes, in my view, is that some small but successful projects brought really the science methodology to the general public. So the reason why we do this kind of activity is because we don't want them to learn, I don't know, how to look at the stars or measure the shape of proteins, to give you some examples of citizen science projects. We want them to understand how we think, what's the methodology of science, the reasoning of science, because if we want the people to take rational decisions based on fact and on evidence, this is the power of science. So the purpose of this is really to teach a methodology, a way of thinking. So any project that can bring the people to this result is a good project. It's also the failure of citizen science and of the scientific citizenship, because most of the researchers are not trained in dealing with this kind of activity. So they think about citizen science like classical outreach activities. I am here, I'm speaking to a public, and when I'm really, really democratic, I'm having a pint with a scientist, which means that I will sit in a bar instead of a conference hall, not a peer-to-peer exchange. There are fields, like my field, I'm a medical doctor by training, where this kind of interaction is changing because patients are very important to define the outcomes of research. So some doctors started learning that this is the problem. The other problem for the academic environment is that, at least in my country, the academy is a very closed environment, and there are professionals that are better than us scientists to do this when we work as scientists. And we struggle in bringing them on board for many reasons, from administrative reasons to cultural reasons. We often think that if I know, I'm able to transfer. That's not true. It's another job to transfer. So the problem is how should we help? What's the solution for the next 5-10 years? I hope to be able to bring the professionals on board in the academic world in some way without transforming them in academic people, but keeping their professional role. And I hope also to be able to train the scientists in interacting with the professionals and then with the public. But I think there is no other way than to transform the way we do science in a modern world.
Thank you, Daniela. And yes or no question, is scientific communication boosting as a discipline right now? Yes or no? The very first
Oh
one.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's a very important topic in many universities, and yes, a very hot field of research.
Okay, thank you very much. So Matthias, examples of good and bad KPIs. First, we can start by saying, what are KPIs?
KPIs are key performance indicators for those who are not familiar with that abbreviation. And normally you're measured on some results you produce. And we are startup centers, we are normally measured on how many startups have we produced. And for research institutions, especially for us as universities, it's difficult to produce startups because we are higher or institutions of higher education. Education means it would be a good KPI to say how many students, docs and postdocs have we reached to train them, to give this entrepreneurial idea. Because we know that most of startups came after 5 years after leaving university to see what kind of problems are out there. And then we gave the knowledge within the university. So that would be a good KPI for us to say how many persons did we achieved with our knowledge, with our trainings, but not how many startups did we produce. Because we cannot force someone doing that, but we can go into lectures, lessons, workshops, and so on. Just as an idea for us as a university, what could be a good KPI, and which is, it depends on the measurement, the monitor you have. Those questions are in there. You could also ask how many employees do your startups have after 5 years or 10 years. You can ask how much VC funds have they raised within 5 or 10 years. Did they had an exit? For those who are familiar with selling a startup after 5 or 10 years, that are KPIs you can have, but which are difficult for us as a university.
Okay, so thank you very much to our speakers today. I think we should now move to the poster pitches.
Thank you very much indeed for these very interesting exchanges and the examples on how to connect people and actions. Now we will move to the final part of this session where some colleagues from the AI4C2 project will actually tell you why you should go to their poster during the lunch, while you have lunch or just after you have lunch, so that they can better explain to you what we are doing in that project. So for that, I guess we will have, I will call all the names, then you will line up here just like at the grocery or whatever, and then each of you will have 30 seconds to convince the audience that they should join you at the poster. So I will have first Carolina Llore, then Jorge Hernandez will be behind, then Nina Muzikantova will be behind, Gaia Garanzini. So please start lining up so we don't lose time. Really, just wait, just like at the butcher or the bakery. So I said Gaia Garanzini, Eleonore Rodenfeld, Daniela Soitu, please line up. Nina, you will do another round at that point, and then I will be the last one. So we start.
Bienvenue. If you want to know how we are leading, how we are managing this project, and how we are leading the EC2U community and alliance to an RNI strategy, do not hesitate to come during lunch break and see me. I will explain everything.
Bienvenidos. Welcome to the Work Package 2. Okay. Bienvenidos otra vez. Welcome to the welcome to the Work Package 2 EC2U Research and Innovation Agenda. We are surveying your communities. We are asking your students. We are polling your staff stakeholders. We are doing all this effort, also mapping your research infrastructures, because we want to shape common research and innovation agenda based on United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Please come outside to our poster to see what has all this work been done during 1 hour and a half. Very intense work, believe me. We are alive, and we will know about that.
Hello everyone. Today I represent the WIP3 People Empowerment for University of Coimbra. Unfortunately, they are not with us, but you can see their beautiful team on the picture. So, WIP3 People Empowerment, we focus on the empowering researchers and professionals who works in research. And as well, we use different tools. For example, lately, we produced master classes on the topic of gender equality. So if you would like to talk about gender equality, feel free to come to me, to WIP3 poster. See you.
Benvenuti a tutte e a tutti. I'm Gaia Garancini. I'm here to represent WP4, University of Pavia, and you want to find out more how we do offer digital support to develop all the all the project results, thank you. You will be able to find us, me and Daniela, back then in the lunch break. Thank you.
Willkommen. Welcome to the innovation sphere. We love to innovate, to co-create. For example, in 1 year, there will be a 24-hour makeathon for the EC2U Alliance and beyond to develop innovative solutions together. But for now, I invite you to our poster there of Work Package 5 together with Dana and our lovely colleagues from the Work Package 5 board.
Bună ziua! We in VP6 of RI42 are loved or hated for surveys and focus groups. Let's start one now. Are you part of the knowledge ecosystem? Do you perform any activities related to the citizen science? Have you used ever an instrument to measure public engagement or done one? I hope the VP6 members will raise their hands because we've made such kind of instruments. And is any one of you running at the moment a living lab? Great, we intend to have 3 of them together with you from the autumn. All of data we have collected related to the citizen science in the EC2U, to the local knowledge ecosystems, you'll find out on our poster, and we will try to be a nice bouquet around it. So, to answer, thank you.
Well, hello again. I represent WP7 today as well. Unfortunately, our colleagues are not here, but you can see them at the pictures. So if you would like to discuss open science practices and how to use them in your work, or even if you would like to ask what is it open science, so please feel free to come to WP7 poster.
And there will be an AIDS poster, which will be about how we actually want to disseminate all the results and make sure that this project transforms our universities, our communities. So if you want to learn more, in particular how we build sessions like today and for the future forums, then come to that poster too. Have lunch, enjoy, now take a break, take care of your health, mental health as well, but join us at the posters. The session is now closed. Thank you all for your active participation. Enjoy the lunch, enjoy the posters.